It's Wednesday, January 28th. In the headlines, a new bill has been tabled in Parliament to tighten oversight of gated communities. In business news, Jamaica National Fund Managers, now a subsidiary of Barita Investments. Regionally, Barbados' Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, invites international observers amid election dispute. And in sports, West Indies lose opening T20 International against South Africa. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. A new bill tabled in Parliament aims to strengthen governance and enforcement in shared and gated communities. The proposed law would establish a board to oversee community corporations, manage a national register, resolve disputes, and issue binding directions. The board will also have powers to nullify flawed resolutions, order the removal of animals kept in breach of bylaws, and require general meetings to address governance issues. While the bill is in the name of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, it was tabled by Minister Robert Montague.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the House, I will move to introduce and have read a first time a bill shortly entitled the Registration Shared Community Act 2026. Mr. Speaker, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the first reading of the bill.
The bill introduces tougher measures to deal with unpaid maintenance fees, including the seizure and sale of property, once strict notification requirements are met. Community corporations would also be allowed to set payment deadlines, charge interest on arrears, and enforce bylaws, and pursue a penalty of up to $1 million for breaches. Opposition Member of Parliament Julian Robinson called for the legislation to be reviewed by a joint select committee.
I represent a constituency that probably has the largest number of gated communities in the entire country. I had a very cursory look at the bill. It has very far-reaching implications for how those gated communities operate, legally and otherwise. I believe it is in the best interest of the Parliament and the country for a bill like this, which is being introduced for the first time, to be referred to a joint select committee where you can have stakeholders review it, give their comments before going through this process.
The government on a Tuesday tabled wide-ranging amendments to the Cybercrimes Act aimed at strengthening protections against online fraud, safeguarding children, criminalizing the non-consensual sharing of intimate AI-generated images, and tightening controls on the tools used to carry out cybercrime. Opening the debate in the House of Representatives, Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for science, technology, and special projects, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, warned that Jamaica's rapid digital transformation has created more vulnerabilities. According to Minister Wheatley, the bill acknowledges that harm in the digital space now extends beyond material captured by camera.
Identity theft are at scale. Financial fraud and payment diversions are now common assault. Harassment and extortion conducted through viral platforms and reputational destruction through synthetic media that can, Mr. Speaker, fabricate a person's likeness or voice with alarming realism is now the order of the day.
The amendments also propose tougher penalties for offences involving minors, with courts empowered to impose sentences of up to 20 years imprisonment in the most serious cases.
This amendment package is about three things: stronger protection for people, especially our children and most vulnerable, Mr. Speaker. sharper tools for law enforcement and prosecutors. And of course, Mr. Speaker, in an ever-evolving landscape, updated definitions and offences that reflect how harm now travels through digital platforms.
The government expended millions of dollars in infrastructural developments in 2025, with plans to increase expenditure in the forthcoming financial year. An update was shared during Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief.
Who designates the roads to our hospitals, the roads to our ports? We had an issue last year where the ports asked, who is going to fix our road? They said, the parish council said it's not their road, but the road was never gazetted as a national road for the NWA. The Prime Minister, as the Minister of Work, has had to make a decision to say, we will fix the port roads. Why? Because the ports are an important part of the national economy. How can the roads to the ports not be under anyone's jurisdiction or control? And that is the kind of laissez-faire structure that we have had within our country for the past 60 years. And that's something that the government is very interested in fixing.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping market, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. Barita Investments advised that JN Fund Managers is now a wholly owned subsidiary and is now being integrated into its network. This development follows receipt of a regulatory non-objection from the Financial Services Commission, which regulates the non-deposit taking financial sector. Barita's Chief Executive Officer Ramon Small Ferguson comments that the acquisition represents a further step in the execution of Barita's long-term strategy under the Cornerstone Group to strengthen investment management capabilities, broaden product offerings, and enhance long-term value for clients across Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. In connection with the change of control, Barita advises that Richardo Williams has been appointed Interim Chief Executive Officer of JN Fund Managers Limited, while also serving as Senior Vice President, Asset Management and Research at Barita Investments. The appointment took effect January 19, 2026. As we continue with our series with Forbes magazine top futurist, Dr. Claire Nelson talks how the diaspora can be a part of climate change planning within the Jamaican economy. Forbes magazine declared our guest one of the top 50 minds in futuristic thinking. Jamaican-born, US-based Dr. Claire Nelson is here with us to really talk about ways that the diaspora can move beyond remittances to assist in allowing Jamaica's climate readiness to be financed. Welcome, Dr. Nelson.
Thank you for having me, Madam Denise.
So let's just move beyond collecting $200 from a baby father. What's bigger out there?
You know, it has been years that the World Bank and all sorts of agencies and institutions have been studying how to capture more of diaspora remittances. Now, we all know diaspora remittances is really social safety net. People sending home to their families. At another level, we have diaspora remittances in the form of social investments through alumni institutions, medical missions, some churches, and a few, less few in the hometown associations. I think for me, I'm being very, trying my best to get them to think about a resilience initiative that would engage diaspora in a new way, working with the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange to create a finance task force that would find a way to capture that social capital investment. How can we support, let's say, alumni associations, even those who are not in association, but they still want to support their high school, to get the funding necessary to create the, fix the roofs, the churches, etc. From my vantage point, Jamaica has been talking about a diaspora bond for some time. I know the World Bank some years ago commissioned a study, but this has not come off, and I think in large part because they're looking at very high net worth individuals that are definitely looking for a return on investment. And quite often, some of those high net worth individuals are not that passionate about Jamaica. So the passionate people tend to be the working class and the middle class who belong to all these associations and organizations, and they're not going to take the risk of what they think are unsound investment in Jamaica. And there's always a lot of talk about where's the money really going. And so I think, yes, you can go the diaspora bond route, but I guess my concern right now is not for the big companies on the stock exchange and the government agencies, but my concern is about those MSMEs, those social sector infrastructure, the churches that have been damaged, which are part of the social capital, parks, sport fields, all the things that keep the social cohesion and fabric going. And I think diaspora remittances can be turned into community investment notes, perhaps, and some other vehicles, maybe small equity capital, let's call it trust funds, that could be invested in those things that might return investment. So let's say, for example, you had a cooperative of farmers. That might be a trust fund that can be invested, that you get a share in a trust, you invest it in a farmer thing, a farmer cooperative, preferably one as an exporter. And then you're going to get your money back because everybody knows how much yam and peppers and stuff we're buying. So we can see it and touch it in a long term. But this also could be like a community investment note where people are investing small amounts, $50 US, $100 US, not looking for any return. But of course, you could offer like 0.5%. I've done it before with an investment note for people in Mexico. So I've been playing around with this idea. And then that can support like churches, which are, at least have some income, maybe small,
right,
and maybe never.
Right.
But I do think that there is an opportunity for us to explore and get support,
right,
for these experiments and moving forward.
All right. Well, a lot to think about. I like the idea. It's almost like a GoFundMe, but at a higher level.
And with the metrics and transparency.
The metrics and transparency.
So it's different from just giving a donation.
Right.
Because what will be required is for the NGOs and the community-based organizations and the churches to do a better job of data collection, data keeping, because our return on investment is not, so it's going to be money. It's going to be the sidekick thrill we get from seeing moving from 0 to 100 people, or that the kitchen actually gets built and people are doing a little cook shops out of the kitchen that was built for people to use.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
Dr.
thank you.
For the trading period of January 27, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 13,220,063 units representing 31.36% of market sales activities. Kintyre Holdings Jamaica Limited with 9,652,363 units representing 22.89% of market sales activities. Dollar Financial Services Limited with 6,040,273 units, representing 14.33% of market sales activity. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation, advertising, and finance plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market, based on Bank of Jamaica data for January 27, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. In the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $157.58 and buying at $155.99. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $1.78 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $114.55 and was bought for $112.77. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of 89 cents in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $214.83 and was bought for $213.94. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, climate change preparation requires real spending long before a disaster strikes, and your credit report plays a central role in making that spending possible. Investments such as solar energy systems, water catchment, home fortification, backup power, and rising insurance deductibles are often financed, not paid for in cash. A strong credit report lowers the cost of that financing, expands access to green loans and utility programs, and allows households and businesses to act early instead of delaying protection. By actively reviewing and improving your credit, you increase your ability to fund climate readiness upgrades at manageable terms, reduce future out-of-pocket shocks, and position yourself to absorb climate costs without destabilizing your finances. For our funded and focused feature, your business bank account is the container for funding from government contracts. A separate business bank account improves transparency, simplifies audits, and builds trust. Government agencies expect procurement-related funds to be traceable. A business must demonstrate understanding of separating personal and business finances. This is essential for how it supports compliance, reporting, and financial credibility. As an example, mixing personal and business funds nearly sank our client Trevon during compliance checks. Professional advice prompted separation, improving transparency, and audit readiness. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, Prime Minister Mia Mottley says international observers have been invited to monitor Barbados' February 11 general election. She made the announcement amid calls from opposition leader Ralph Thorne for the polls to be postponed and his threat of legal action if that does not happen. Anesta Henry has that story.
For the first time in the history of independent Barbados, teams from CARICOM and the Commonwealth will be coming to observe elections. Prime Minister Mia Mottley says she has written to the two organizations requesting the presence of the observers for the February 11th poll. She says this is in response to leader of the Democratic Labour Party, Ralph Thorne's allegations that the government is influencing the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. According to Prime Minister Mottley, the presence of the observers is necessary to protect the country's reputation.
If there is any doubt and any suspicion being cast, it is important, therefore, for us to invite independent electoral observers such that you don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to any of us. Let the independent observers cast a judgment on the conduct of elections in this country.
Mr. Thorne has called on Prime Minister Mottley to postpone the general election, saying he is prepared to take the matter to court if she does not. The leader of the Democratic Labour Party says several people are at risk of being denied the opportunity to cast their vote to no fault of their own due to the concerns surrounding the voters list. But PM Mottley is advising Mr. Thorne to remember his legal training and to go and read the Representation of the People Act.
It is the President who declares the period ending 19 days after the issuing of the writ. It is the President that determines that 3 days after the issuing of the writ, you shall publish a revised list of registers. It is the President who gives those instructions to the Commission, and then it is the Commission who acts. There is no role for a Prime Minister in an electoral process.
And the Prime Minister is making it clear only the Electoral Boundaries Commission can call any shots as it relates to the conduct of elections.
I have been in public life too long, and I know that when I see a man behaving a certain way, that he's trying to do something. It is my judgment that Mr. Thorne, recognizing how unprepared his party is and his candidates, and how he is not comfortable or confident with what he's doing, has tried to make allegations.
Meanwhile, the leader of the DLP, Ralph Thorne, is adamant he is willing to take the voters' list matter to the law courts to ensure that the rights of every voter are respected. He told members of the media at the Lodge School, where he was nominated to contest the St. John seat on a DLP ticket, the party has lost confidence in the EBC.
And we must lose that confidence because of the way the Commission has been functioning. And I am saying that we continue to be suspicious that the government is exercising control and influence over the Commission. Thank God they're holding a meeting today. Thank God they're holding that meeting today. I don't know what will be the content of that meeting, but I'll tell you this. Our representatives on the Commission will be reporting to us today.
Mr. Thorne also says the DLP's willingness to take the EBC to court has nothing to do with the party's state of readiness for the election.
And we've been ready for a long time. We, the Democratic Labour Party, we've been ready for a long time for this election. But if we are given notice that persons, citizens in this country will be denied the right to vote, that is our business.
Mr. Thorne says his party intends to host a press conference tonight. Meanwhile, beginning at 7 p.m., the BLP will be presenting its candidates and defending its track record at Granny's Car Park, Oistins, Christchurch. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
More than 100 health professionals from Ghana have arrived in Antigua and Barbuda, marking the largest single recruitment of overseas nurses to support the country's public health system. The group touched down at the VC Bird International Airport, where they were welcomed by Health Minister Sir Mulwin Joseph and other senior officials. The healthcare professionals, some of whom are specialists in key areas, arrived in the island late Monday afternoon and will ease a chronic shortage of nurses in the public system. Shanakisha Francis has more.
Over 100 health officials from Ghana arrived at the VC Bird International Airport late last night on a chartered flight, forming the largest group to travel together from Ghana to Antigua and Barbuda under a single arrangement. Minister of Health Sir Mulwin Joseph, along with the Minister of State Senator Michael Joseph, and other top health officials welcomed them on arrival.
This is truly a delighted moment in the history of Antigua and Barbuda. As a matter of fact, when I saw my brothers and sisters walking towards the delegation, I said we have made history.
The recruitment follows Cabinet's approval as part of wider efforts to address long-standing nursing shortages across the public health system, with officials acknowledging the strain placed on existing staff.
Let me say to the Ghanaians, you are our brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters doesn't necessarily mean you have the same parents. It means that you have rejoined your family. Wow.
Sir Mulwin says arrangements have already been made for immigration processing, transportation, housing, and orientation, with the nurses expected to serve in Antigua and Barbuda for an initial 3-year period.
But we have made the arrangements for you, and it starts tonight. You will get your passports, all processed, and then we will board our transportation, to a site where you can relax, get some refreshments, and then the next step is for you to be assigned to your residence. You say, I said residence, it's not only home, you're going to be you're going to be here for 3 years, the most delightful years here in Antigua and Barbados.
The nurses will now begin to acclimatize, preparing to begin an orientation program before deployment to healthcare facilities across the island to include Sir Lester Bird Medical Center, clinics, and schools. Shanakisha Francis, ABS News.
In sports, we're on the pitch with cricket. West Indies fell to a 9-wicket defeat in the opening T20 international against South Africa, as the Caribbean bowlers were flayed by the Proteas batters at Boland Park on Tuesday. Terry Andrews reports.
Without T20 captain J. Hope in the lineup, the Windies posted 173 for 7 in their 20-over allotment against South Africa. Windies slipped from 39 for 1 in the 4th over to 95 for 5 at the start of the 12th. A 74-run partnership between Shimron Hitmaya and Rovman Powell took the total past 170. Hitmaya struck 4 fours and 3 sixes in a 32-ball 48, while Powell's unbeaten 29 and Brandon King's 27 at the top of the order added much-needed runs to the total. George Linder bagged 3 for 23, Keshav Maharaj and Corbin Bosch picked up 2 wickets each. In reply, the Proteas made light work of the run chase, producing an emphatic batting display. They were unbeaten knocks from captain Aidan Markram, who bludgeoned a 47-ball 86, inclusive of 9 boundaries and 3 sixes, and 40 from Ryan Rickleton, while Lou Handry Pretorius slammed 6 boundaries and a 6 in his 28-ball 44 to ensure the Proteas' victory by 9 wickets. Stand-in captain Waston Chase says they were short on runs in the encounter.
Yeah, well, firstly, I thought we were probably 15, 20 runs short. We were initially looking for 190, 195, so I thought we were initially short in the batting. And then to start in the bowling, in the power play, I thought that we didn't have the best of starts, and it was hard to pull back the game from there. We need to have a bit more plans in the power play to the batters, especially bowling power play. And I mean, it's just for the batters to continue. I thought that we got starts. We had a decent start in our power play as well, but we lost too many wickets at crucial stages. As we had the momentum going in our favor, we got out and put the games back into the South Africans' hands.
The second T20 International will bowl off at noon on Thursday at SuperSport Park in Centurion. Terry Andrew, ABS Sports.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.